experience for more than 300 popular magazines, digital publications, and newspapers. There's no service out there quite like this. I love it. And if you haven't tried it, I encourage you to do so. We also announced Apple Arcade, the world's first game subscription service for mobile, desktop, and living room, featuring over 100 new games from some of the most innovative game developers in the world. Apple Arcade will be available later this year. And we introduced Apple Card, which will completely reinvent the credit card experience. Apple Card will be available this summer. And we announced Apple TV Plus, which is a new home for the world's most creative storytellers. Now, while the service doesn't launch until fall, we thought it would be really fun this morning to share with you a sneak peek of just one of our upcoming shows from Ron Moore, the executive producer behind Battlestar Galactica and Star Trek. With his new series, Ron wanted to take us on a journey in which the space race was a little different than you might remember it, and it has never ended. So let's take a first look at For All Mankind.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
After thousands of years gazing up in the heavens and dreaming of this day, a man is about to set foot on the moon. Across the world, people wait with bated breath. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a live signal. There he is. The shock across the nation at this event is just indescribable. The Soviet cosmonaut has become the first to set foot on the moon.
I thought it was about being first. Turns out the stakes are much bigger than that.
Get back to work.
We're still in this thing.
Change your plans, gentlemen.
There is water on the moon. This race will be ours to fight for and to win. And we are not stopping there. Moon Lab.
We need to accelerate the base.
You're gonna be an astronaut candidate.
No, I'm gonna be an astronaut.
We're going to Mars, Saturn, the stars, the galaxy.
Drifting right. Watch it!
Eagle, this is Houston. Do you copy?
This is not the end of the race. We must keep our eyes to the future.
3, 2.
Wasn't that great? I've gotten an early look at the entire season, and I loved it, and I think you're going to too. We can't wait to show you this series and our other original shows coming up this fall. Now, Apple TV Plus will be available on the Apple TV app, which is across all of your screens, including your smart TVs. And of course, the best way to enjoy this content is with Apple TV 4K, which offers an immersive cinematic experience, delivering the highest picture quality of any streaming device out there. Apple TV is powered by tvOS, and tvOS is just one of the software platforms that we're here to talk about today. So let's get going. I'm excited to share with you this morning how we're going to make tvOS even more entertaining and more personal. We completely redesigned the home screen, making Apple TV come to life from the moment that you turned it on, with full screen previews of the best TV shows and newly released movies. Apple TV is designed to be used for the whole family, but we wanted to make it even more personal. Today, the Up Next list has a mix of shows for everyone in the home. But when you sit down and to watch TV, you want to see the shows that you love. So we're introducing multi-user support for tvOS. Now everyone in the home gets their own Up Next list, plus personalized recommendations for new shows and movies to enjoy. Now, and it's easy to switch between family members using the all-new Control Center. It works just like you would expect it to. tvOS also delivers Apple Music with over 50 million songs and curated music video playlists. And now with multi-user support, everyone in the home gets their own personalized music experience. You're going to be able to see lyrics to your favorite songs in sync with the music. This is really cool. This is the best music experience on television. Now, Apple Arcade is also going to look amazing on the Apple TV 4K this fall. Playing great games like Oceanhorn 2, of course, is even better with great game controllers. So we're extending support to two of the best and most popular game controllers available. Xbox One S, yes, and PlayStation DualShock 4. Yeah. I think there's a few PlayStation fans out there. Finally, let's talk about our beautiful screensavers. We've already captured some of the most stunning locations around the globe and even some from outer space through our collaboration with the International Space Station. This year, we're going under the sea. Oh, it's awesome. We've partnered with BBC Natural History Unit to shoot beautiful 4K HDR footage, taking you to places that few people have ever experienced before. So that's the new tvOS, more personal and more entertaining than ever. Now let's talk about Apple Watch. Yeah, Apple Watch is the #1 watch in the world. It keeps you connected to the people and information you care about just by raising your wrist. It tracks your workouts and motivates you to stay active throughout the day. And with new breakthrough features like fall detection, heart notifications, and ECG, the Apple Watch has truly become an intelligent guardian for your health. For so many of us, the Apple Watch has become an essential part of our daily life. Today, we're going to take another leap forward with the watchOS to bring new experiences to Apple Watch while enhancing the ones that you already love. To tell you all about it, I'd like to invite Kevin Lynch to the stage. Kevin?
Thank you, Tim. Good morning. So excited to be here. We're thrilled at how Watch is making such a difference in so many people's lives. And this is driving us to make Watch even more powerful and more personal for you. Let's start with watch faces. Now, these are something you interact with most every day. And we have more watch faces this year since the very first Apple Watch. From simply beautiful to richly detailed, let's take a look at a few of these. First, we have the gradient face, which is smoothly animating with the time. And then we have this large numerals face showing the current hour in multiple languages. And the very modern digital face showing a great look in multiple colors. And then the California dial, classic design for a watch face. Now, many of these faces you can add more information to, such as adding rich complications here right on the California dial. And then we have the solar face. This visualizes the sun's 24-hour path around the dial, and you can see it changing during the day or as you rotate the digital crown. These are just beautiful. Now, across all the watch faces, we're introducing taptic chimes. And when enabled, on the hour, you'll feel a silent taptic on your wrist, and if sound is on, you'll hear an audible chime, like this. Yes, that's a bird song. It's actually a robin captured in Apple Park. It was recorded in Apple Park. The robins are okay. All right. Now let's talk about apps. Now these are designed for quick interactions on Watch. First, we're bringing more Apple apps to Watch. The new Audiobooks app to let you listen to Apple Books, and voice memos so you can easily record your thoughts. And calculator. And check this out, it also includes the ability to do tip calculations, including the ability to split the bill with friends. Now we're also giving developers great new tools and APIs to build great apps for Apple Watch. And we're now making it possible to create apps that run independently on the watch, no longer requiring a companion iPhone app. And now you can get extended time to access sensor data and complete sessions, like physical therapy with Kaya, or brushing your teeth with Colgate, or meditating with Calm. And watchOS 6 now enables the streaming audio API. So you can go with just your watch, and you can stream great content like podcasts, music, live sports games. So with new developer tools and a new native UI framework coming this year, we're enabling a whole new generation of apps for Watch. Now, to make it even easier for you to discover these apps, we're excited to bring the App Store to Apple Watch. You can browse apps created by our editorial team or find favorite apps like Headspace or Carrot Weather or Streaks, Nike Run Club. You can search the full App Store using dictation or Scribble or just asking Siri. And you can view product pages to see information like the app description, reviews, screenshots. And finally, you can purchase and install an app directly on your watch. So discovering and using apps in Apple Watch is going to be better than ever with the App Store and these really great developer tools. Now we're also adding new health and fitness capabilities. And to tell you about some of these, I'd like to invite to the stage Dr. Sumbul Desai, our VP of Health, to the stage. Sumbul?
Thanks, Kevin. Apple Watch is an amazing health and fitness partner. And in watchOS 6, we're adding even more features to empower you to better manage your health, starting with activity. Being physically active is one of the most important things you can do for your health. If it were a prescription, it would actually be one of the most prescribed medicines in the world. The Activity app on Apple Watch already motivates you to stay active. It also lets you know how active you are every single day. But knowing how active you are over the long term is just as important. It gives you a sense of your overall fitness. So in watchOS 6, we're introducing activity trends. For 9 key metrics, it'll compare your progress over the last 90 days with the last 365. If the trends show that you're maintaining or improving, you'll see an arrow pointing up, and that's great. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're trending downward, we'll give you some simple coaching to get you back on track. You'll see trends for familiar metrics like move, exercise, and stand, but you'll also see trends for some new metrics, like your workout walking pace, flights of stairs climbed, or even your cardio fitness level. Activity trends will provide you with a more complete picture of what you can do to stay active, and even more importantly, give you the motivation you need for long-term success. Now, let's talk about your hearing health. Your hearing is a precious asset. Think about the sounds that surround you every day. Hearing a friend's laughter, listening to your favorite song, protecting your hearing is critical to living your everyday life and maintaining your independence as you age. And since hearing loss is often so gradual, it's important to know when the sounds around you are loud enough to impact your hearing. Like when you're in the middle of a construction zone, at a sporting event, or playing your music really loud to drown out your singing voice. I do that all the time. The new Noise app uses the microphone to detect decibel levels and can notify you if it's reached a level that could impact your hearing over time. Because the watch is always on your wrist, it's in a great position to monitor your environmental noise. If you tap the Noise app, you'll get more detail, and you can use the complication to check, which is to raise or rest. It's an easy way to protect your hearing health. And of course, this feature was designed with privacy in mind. It only periodically samples and does not record or save any audio. We think the Noise app is really going to make a big impact. Now, there's one more new feature in health and fitness. And all the women out there, pay close attention, because this one's for you: cycle tracking. Knowing more about your menstrual cycle gives you a window into your health, from simply ensuring that you're prepared to understanding your personal patterns and irregularities. As a physician, I know that understanding what's normal for you is critical when making informed clinical decisions and can really enrich your conversations with your doctor. So in watchOS 6, the cycle tracking app gives you a simple, discrete way to visualize your cycle right on your wrist. And it's really easy to use. You can log key aspects of your period and fertility, including symptoms, and you can be notified when it's about to begin. You can also choose to receive a fertile window prediction so you are better informed. This feature is available on Apple Watch, and because we wanted to make this available to hundreds of millions of women around the world, cycle tracking is also available without a watch in the Health app in iOS. Yes, for everybody to use. You can use it on your iPhone to do all of the same functions that can be done on Watch. We are so excited to bring more focus to this incredibly important aspect of women's health. Now, back to Kevin.
Thank you, Sandra. So the Health app is the best way to see all of your health data in one place, and we've redesigned it to be even more personal and meaningful to you. In the new summary view, you can see health-related notifications. You'll see your favorites, the information you care about most, as well as automatically generated highlights, so you can see your health data over time. For example, if you're more active than you usually are, how consistently you may have been mindful this week, or how your heart rate recovered after a recent workout. Health is using machine learning on your iPhone to determine which highlights might be most interesting to you. So the new Health app is going to bring you even more powerful perspective on your health. Now, all this health data is securely stored in your iPhone or encrypted in iCloud. And since there's nothing more private than your health information, you control your data. You can decide if you want to share particular health data with selected apps, if you'd like to share anything at all. Those are some of the great new features coming in watchOS 6. To give you a look at some of this running live, please welcome to the stage watchOS program lead Haley Allen.
Thanks so much, Kevin. I've been loving watchOS 6, and I'm super excited to have the opportunity to show it to you today. Let's start with a few of my favorite faces. This is the new modular compact face, and now I can have a large infograph complication alongside a beautiful dial. And there's even room in the corner for a couple of my favorite rich complications, like these two new ones, wind and rain. Let's tap Customize and check out some of the options. This is the new noise complication, which tells me how loud it is in here. It's pretty quiet. Let's make some noise and see how this works. Amazing. Thank you. That's great. The next face I want to show you is one of our most popular faces. And this year we've made it even cooler because you can customize it to our all-new monochrome style. I love the simplicity of this two-tone look. In the middle here is the audiobooks complication, and I can just tap on it and resume right where I left off. And the now playing controls in watchOS 6 are great, showing me exactly what I need to see for that app. In audiobooks, I can tap here at the bottom and find that chapter I want to listen to again. It's never been easier to listen to great books on the go. The last face I want to show you is the gradient face. Kevin showed you how beautiful it looks full screen, and I can also customize it to add all my favorite rich complications. I'm constantly multitasking. With a busy job and a son at home, sometimes I only have a moment to capture a quick thought. Let me tap on the voice memos complication in the bottom right corner and do that now. Remind Marcus that just because you're almost 7 does not mean you get to, quote, veto your bedtime. Okay, now I'm super excited to give you the first look at the all-new App Store. With curated collections and apps, it's super easy to discover and download great apps for the watch. Let's check out Chinesey. I can just tap here to see ratings and screenshots, and I can download it directly from my watch. It's super convenient. Let me show you an app I've already downloaded, the MLB app. With the new audio streaming APIs in watchOS 6, I can listen in to any live game no matter where I am. Now, they aren't actually playing right now, but let me just tap here and give you a preview of how this works.
2-1 pitch coming. A swing and a high drive right field. Going back to the track, it's got a shot. Right at the wall. It is gone!
Yes! Isn't that cool? Come on! All right, thanks so much. Those are just a few highlights in watchOS 6. I think you're gonna love it. Back to you, Kevin.
Thank you, Haley. That was really cool. Now, there's so much more to watchOS 6, like recognizing songs with Shazam built right in, and automatic software updates right on your watch. Now, lastly, we know how personalized you like to make watch, from the watch faces to the physical bands. And we're introducing today some new summer colors and an all-new Pride Edition watch band. It matches perfectly with the new Pride watch face on your watch. So watchOS 6 is another large step forward for watch. And it's really an honor for the team to be crafting something so personal to all of you. Thank you. Back to Tim.
Thank you, Kevin. All of these great new features will make the Apple Watch an even more indispensable part of your daily life. Now let's talk about iOS, the world's most powerful mobile operating system. Last year, we delivered iOS 12, which is full of amazing features, from dynamic new AR experiences and emoji to screen time and faster performance. And once again, iOS has the highest customer satisfaction in the industry with an incredible 97%. This is unbelievable. And as always, our adoption rate is industry leading as well. 85% of iOS customers are on the latest release. And in fact, iOS 12 has been installed on more systems than any version of iOS ever. Now that's in stark contrast to the latest offering from those other guys, which was released before iOS 12. They only had 10% adoption. Now, this high adoption rate is a huge benefit for both users and developers. Now, to tell you about the next major release of iOS, I'd like to hand it over to Craig. Craig. Good morning, everybody.
Hello. Okay. I'd like to talk. All right, we got a lot to talk about this morning. I'd like to talk about our next big release of iOS. Now, when it came to naming this release, our crack marketing team really surprised us this year by demonstrating their ability to count well into the double digits. Yes, it's iOS 13. Now, iOS 13 is a huge release packed with lots of capabilities, but we know that nothing is more important to our iPhone users than performance. So this year, we worked top to bottom in the system, making everything faster that you do the most. Things like unlocking with Face ID, now 30% faster. Now, this one's cool. We've changed the way that we're packaging apps on the App Store. And when this rolls out in the fall with iOS 13, you'll see that your downloads are now 50% smaller and updates 60% smaller. But yes. But what's really incredible is the effect it has on app launch speed. It's up to twice as fast in iOS 13. Now, we were able to do this in a release packed with new features, and there's one that I think is going to really resonate with some of you here, and I'd like to introduce it to you now. Let's take a look.
All the walls are painted white, faded light, faded light. Try to find a word to say, but it's all
We are bringing dark mode to iOS. I'd love to show it to you live now. All right. Okay, let's take our first live look at iOS. Now, here it is in its traditional light appearance, this gorgeous new wallpaper. But now, let's begin our descent into darkness. Look at that, the gorgeous dark wallpaper. Our notifications look great. Let's take a look at our widgets. Look just awesome. Let's take a look at some apps. We'll start with news. Check it out with a gorgeous dark appearance. So nice. And your calendar, your daily events have never looked so awesome on this really beautiful palette. And notes. Look at this refined texture. It's really fantastic. Let's take a trip into messages. So you see how your images, your emoji, they all look just fantastic. And of course, the keyboard, an extra refined new dark appearance and some new tricks, because now, when you type, you can swipe. Just like that. It's really great. Let's take a look at photos. Of course, it looks fantastic in dark mode. Now, this is our dark mode project team at the project kickoff. See, it was happy times. They did slowly begin their descent into darkness. We take the details very seriously. Let's take a look at our new share sheet. Looks awesome in dark mode, but you notice in the middle, sharing suggestions intelligently based on who you share with and who appears in the photos. You can share with just a tap. It's so fast and easy. And finally, music. Your music looks great in dark mode. You can go through some of my recent playback. Of course, start playing some music here. And now, for the first time ever, time-synced lyrics. And that is a quick look at what's new with dark mode in iOS 13. So great performance, intelligent sharing, the new Quick Path keyboard, and dark mode. But of course, there's much more to iOS 13, starting with apps. Let's start with Safari, Mail, and Notes. Now, Safari has new options to quickly change text sizing and as per website preferences. Mail gets desktop-class text formatting controls, including support for rich fonts. And Notes gets this beautiful new gallery view, support for shared folders, and much more. But where we really went deep is with Reminders. We've completely reinvented the app, rewriting it from the ground up to make it more intelligent, intuitive, and powerful, and easier than ever to create reminders. So for instance, just type what you want and Reminders will understand when and where to notify you. Or you can use the new QuickType bar. Just tap and enter things like location or even attachments like photos. With tasks, you can now associate to-dos with a top-level reminder. Now, smart lists, they help you keep track of your most important items. And if you tag a person in a reminder, well, next time you're in a messages conversation, you'll automatically get a notification letting them know that now is time to talk. It's really handy. Next, Maps. Maps is with you everywhere you are, from work, home, or even on the go with CarPlay. And our team continues its obsession with building the best possible map. Now, we've outfitted literally hundreds of planes and cars with custom sensors and LiDAR and driven over 4 million miles to rebuild our map from the ground up. And the results are really impressive. Here's our old map, and here is the new map. It's just great. Now, we expect to roll out this map across the entire US by the end of this year and select other countries next year. But we didn't stop there. There's much more to maps. And to give you a quick look at what's new, I'd like to invite Meg Frost, our Director of Product Design, to the stage for a quick demo. Meg.
I'm so happy to show you what's new in Apple Maps. All right, first, let's take a look at that new map. As Craig said, we've been driving and flying all across the United States, collecting land and aerial data to add significant new detail to the map. So now roads and beaches, parks and buildings look great. We've also added a couple of very useful new features to our recently designed launch screen, like favorites, where I can add the places I go every day for quick and easy access. Now I can just tap and go. And with collections, this is where I can organize all of my favorites, or I can make lists of favorites to share with friends, or I can finally organize that next big trip. Let's check out my SF Spots collection. Now, I've been checking out Chinatown. You'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, there is a new binoculars button. When I tap that, I get a brand new look around window. Yep, this is the right place to drop in, so I'm gonna go full screen. With look around, I get a gorgeous, high definition 3D view. It's an awesome way to explore. But this is my favorite part. Turn your phone and hold on tight. Smoothly move down the street. Yep, but you haven't seen it look like that before. I can tap on labels to learn more about new places. Yep, I think I'll check this one out later. And those are just a few of the new features that we'll be bringing to Apple Maps. Thanks, and back to you, Craig.
Thank you, Meg. We think Maps users are really going to love favorites, collections, and look around. But there's much more to Maps, like Junction View for China, or the ability when you're en route to share an up-to-date ETA with friends and family with just a tap. But what's most important is that Maps has been designed to be private and secure. We always protect your identity and activity, and there's no need to flip a switch to ask Maps to start respecting your privacy. Because at Apple, we believe privacy is a fundamental human right, and we engineer it into everything we do. And this year, we're doing even more. I want to focus on 3 big areas, starting with location. You know, sharing your location with a third-party app can really enable some useful experiences, but we don't expect to have that privilege used to track us. And so this year, we're building in even more protections. Now, for the first time, you can share your location to an app just once and then require it to ask you again next time it wants it. And if you do choose to grant an app the ability to continually monitor your location in the background, we'll give you reports so you'll know what they are up to. Now, some apps try to work around these protections by scanning for Bluetooth or Wi-Fi signals to infer your location. Well, we're shutting the door on that abuse as well. Next, I want to turn to login. We've all seen buttons like this, asking us to use a social account login to get a more personalized experience with an app. Now, this can be convenient, but it also can come at the cost of your privacy. Your personal information sometimes gets shared behind the scenes, and these logins can be used to track you. So we wanted to solve this, and many developers do too. And so now we have the solution. It's called Sign In with Apple. Sign In with Apple is the fast, easy way to sign in without all the tracking. A simple API allows a developer to put a Sign In with Apple button right in their app. You just tap it, and you're authenticated with Face ID on your device, logged in with a new account without revealing any new personal information. Now, some apps may want your name and maybe even an email to send you information when you're outside the app. Now, we do allow them to request this information, but check this out. You can choose to share your actual email address, or you can choose to hide it. And when you do, we'll create a unique random address that forwards to your real address. Yeah, a lot of love for random addresses here. And that's good news because we give each app a unique random address. And this means you can disable any one of them at any time when you're tired of hearing from that app. It's really great. So of course, this entire experience is meant to help you have control over your data. Now, this is available across all of our platforms and also on the web. Now, next I want to return to HomeKit. You know, our homes are such personal places where we deserve to feel safe and secure. So HomeKit has been designed from the outset to protect the privacy and security in your use of home accessories. And no accessory is more personal than security cameras that film in and around your home. Now, unfortunately, most home cameras today send people's video up to the cloud so it can be analyzed to tell the difference between maybe a leaf blowing in the wind and someone at your door. But unfortunately, this risks your privacy. We have a new way. It's called HomeKit Secure Video. Now, yes, HomeKit Secure Video, in that case, the video is analyzed in your home, on your resident iPad, HomePod, or Apple TV. And then it's encrypted and securely sent to iCloud where no one, not even Apple, can see it. Now, of course, you'll be alerted if there's any activity, and you'll be able to review the recordings. Now, storage for 10 days of clips will be included in your existing iCloud accounts, and it won't count against your storage. Yeah. Netatmo, Logitech, and Eufy will be among the first to provide these cameras, with more to come. Now, in addition to cameras, HomeKit supports a wide variety of other accessories. But many accessories don't just connect via HomeKit. They also connect via the internet and through your router. And unfortunately, this can leave them open to attack. And we want to make sure that this can't happen. And so we're bringing HomeKit to routers. Now, with HomeKit at the router, we'll automatically firewall off each of your accessories. So even if one were to be compromised, it wouldn't be able to access your other devices or compromise your personal information. The first HomeKit-enabled routers will be coming from Linksys, Eero, and internet service providers like Charter Spectrum. Next up, messages. Now, we've all received messages like this. Like, who is this guy? Well, wouldn't it be better if you could see something like this? Or maybe even this? Well, now you can. Because with iOS 13, you and the people you message with will be able to share your name and your photo, and even use Memoji or Animoji to create a photo of yourself. Now, this information is only shared when you message with someone, so you're completely in control of who sees your name and picture. Now, since we're all going to be creating a lot more Memoji, we wanted to make them even better at reflecting our own personal style. So we've added a huge amount of new options for makeup, accessories, and so much more. I'd like to have some experts give you a quick look.
Hi guys, I'm Desi Perkins.
And I'm Patrick Starr.
We're beauty influencers
From the internet. Today, we're gonna show you how to make a cute, flirty Memoji look.
using all the new makeup and accessories in iOS 13.
Starting with eyeshadow.
This is my favorite eyeshadow right now. It's called Apple Fuchsia No. 6, and it comes in this really cute little toolbar.
Close your eyes, let me see.
Lipstick.
Pink.
Red.
Purple.
Violet.
Blue.
Ooh, ash.
Desi, you have to go dark mode. Darker, darker. Piercings. Nose ring, brow ring, earring, lip ring, tongue ring.
You can customize your teeth in here. Ooh, braces, gap tooth, missing tooth.
A mini grill.
Earrings. You think these are real gold? I'm allergic to fake jewelry.
Okay, moving on. Hair. Ooh, how about this?
Pat, we have to screenshot these. What else? Hats.
Hats.
And glasses.
Cute, 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 cute. What do we have here?
Last but not least,
AirPods! All right, everyone, these are our finished looks.
Thanks, Pat, for joining me.
Oh, of course. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.
And Craig, I have a few tips for you. Let's connect after the show.
So I think that's given us all a great deal to think about. So, now, we're all going to have a lot of fun personalizing our own Memoji, and so we wanted to give you even more ways to use them. So we're introducing something new. It's called Memoji stickers. Now, instead of expressing yourself like this with emoji in your conversations, you can now do it like this. We automatically create a sticker pack for you for each of your Memoji. Now, of course, you can use them in messages, but we've also incorporated them right alongside emoji in the system keyboard. So you can use them in apps like Mail or your favorite other apps like WeChat. And we've made these usable not just in more apps, but also on more devices. Because while actually animating a Memoji puppet with your face requires a device with a TrueDepth camera system, Memoji stickers and support for the Memoji editor is now supported for all devices with an A9 chip or later. Next. Next, I want to turn to camera and photos, where we've given you great new ways to capture, edit, and experience your photos. Now, I'm going to start with portrait lighting, where we put the power of the studio right in your pocket. Because in iOS 13, we're taking portrait lighting to a new level. And it starts with a brand new effect we call high key mono. It looks just amazing. Now, we're also extending portrait lighting so you can adjust the intensity of the lighting effect just like you could in a lighting studio by moving the lights closer or further away from your subject. So when you increase the intensity of the light, it's like virtually moving the light closer. This has the effect of smoothing skin, brightening eyes and facial features. Or you can pull it back for a subtle, more refined look. And we adapt this effect uniquely to each style of portrait lighting. And next, I want to turn to photo editing. We have a brand new experience so that you control every element of your photo. You can see at a glance all your settings. And with just a tap and a drag, you can make adjustments. It applies across all of our existing effects and many more that are new to iOS 13. But yes. But what's really cool is we're bringing all of this to video for the first time. Now, for the first time, you can rotate a video. How about it? But of course, much more. You can apply filters and all of these effects. It's just awesome. But you know, our biggest change this year is in the way you can browse and experience your photos. You know, we all have so many photos in our library. There's so much great stuff in there, but it's awesome, all often weighed down by pictures of receipts and whiteboards and screenshots. So now, we're using advanced machine learning to remove duplicates and clutter and let you focus on your best shots. And we're taking these photos and we're intelligently organizing them to create a sort of diary of your life. Using this, you'll be amazed at how you discover the moments in your life that matter to you the most. Now, we do all this inside of a brand new Photos tab. And so to show it to you, I'd like to bring up the leader of our Photos app team, Justin Titi, to give you a live demo. Justin.
Thanks, Craig. I'm so excited to show you guys the new Photos app. Let's get started. So here we are in all photos. It's got a new home right here in the Photos tab. But we've also given you more control over how you can view all your photos. You can simply pinch to zoom out and see a bunch of photos, or you can zoom in to see more detail. It's really fast and fluid. Now, as you can see, I take a ton of photos of my kids, trying to capture that perfect moment. Oftentimes, my best shots get lost in this sea of images. That's what Days is for. I just tap down here at the bottom, and you can see Days is absolutely beautiful. The clutter of the similar photos is gone. I can just scroll and enjoy now. So Photos uses intelligence to create these stunning layouts of my photos. Every day looks great. And you can see videos like this time lapse play automatically for me, really bringing my library back to life. As do live photos, helping me relive those really fun moments. And a simple trip to the farmer's market makes me feel like a professional photographer. So Days is simply the best way to browse your photos. So let's check out months. I just tap, and even moving between views is beautiful. So Months organizes the most meaningful events in my library by month. So here's a trip I took to Tahoe, my kid's last day of school, and my wife's birthday. Now this is a video we all take, but usually forget to enjoy. And now it's playing for me right here. Really fun concert. And of course, WWDC from last year. These labs were a blast. So that's Months. It makes it really easy to browse the greatest hits of your library in one view. So let's head over to Years. So Years gives me a high-level overview of my library. What makes Years really special is that it's dynamic, based on my context. So today is Dub-Dub, and Photos knows I go to Dub-Dub every year. So now, it's showing me all of my Dub-Dubs from the past. Right? Go try it out, it's awesome. I can go all the way back. I can go all the way back to my first dub in 2011. I was so excited to be at that keynote. Now, years can do so much more. What if today was my daughter's birthday? Well, let me show you what that would look like. So years is totally transformed now, and it's all about my daughter. As a proud dad, this brings me so much joy. She's grown up so fast. Her first bike, these fun times when every meal is a mess. And this is her first smile. And this video just brings that moment right back to life for me. I can just tap, and I can relive that whole great day. So that's the new Photos app. We think you're really gonna love it. Back to you, Craig.
Thank you, Justin. Well, we're so excited to have you try this out. When you experience it with your own photos, it's a very meaningful experience. So that's camera and photos. And as you can see, there's so much to experience in iOS 13. And now, while much of our interaction with iPhone is through touch, we also experience iOS in so many other ways. We use iOS when we're on the go, with our AirPods, when we gather around to listen to our favorite music on HomePod, and when we're on the road with CarPlay. And of course, tying together all these experiences is Siri. So to take you through what's new with AirPods, HomePod, CarPlay, and Siri, I'd like to invite to the stage Stacy Lysick, our Senior Director of OS Product Management to the Program Management to the stage. Stacy.
Thanks, Craig. Let's get started with AirPods, where we have a couple of great new features coming to iOS 13. First, when you're wearing AirPods, Siri will now be able to read your incoming messages to you as soon as they arrive, and you can instantly respond. Let's take a quick peek and see how it works.
Amy said, "Can you meet for coffee at 9 a.m.?
Tell her I'll be there."
It's sent.
Just like that, Siri helps you stay in the moment, whether the incoming notification comes from the Messages app or any third-party messaging app using SiriKit. Another great new feature is audio sharing. We have all had a time where we wanted to share a movie or a song with a friend. Now you can with just a tap. Like everything AirPods, the experience is magical. And when you get home, there is no better way to keep the music going than with HomePod and its incredible sound quality. To make that transition seamless, we are bringing Handoff to HomePod. Now, when you walk through the door, just bring your iPhone close to your HomePod to instantly hand off your music, a podcast, or even a phone call. And you can just take it with you when you leave the exact same way. Today, we're introducing live radio. So you can ask Siri to play stations from iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and radio.com. In fact, we have over 100,000 radio stations from all around the world. Now, HomePod can learn to recognize who in your family is talking and personalize the response. Of course, this is great with Apple Music, so now when you ask Siri to play you some music, it's based on your taste and your play history and not anyone else's. And the personalization extends way beyond music to messages, reminders, notes, and more. So that's HomePod. Next, let's shift gears to CarPlay. CarPlay leads the industry in adoption with availability in more than 90% of cars sold here in the US and 75% of cars sold globally. This year, we have our biggest update to CarPlay since the beginning. It all starts with a CarPlay dashboard, where you can now have your music next to your maps, and you still have room for Siri Smart suggestions, like a garage door opener when you get close to home, or a view of your next calendar event. You can see your whole day in the new calendar app. Music has been redesigned so your album art is front and center and beautiful. Siri stays out of the way so you don't lose sight of what's on the display. Siri's always been great for getting directions or asking for some music, and it now works with third-party apps like Pandora and Waze. As you saw, Siri is with you across so much of what we do on iOS, and last year Siri became even more powerful with the introduction of Siri Shortcuts. Shortcuts enable you to use your apps through Siri, and in the Shortcuts app, you can create your own personalized multi-step shortcut. Now in iOS 13, the app is built right in, and it is more powerful than ever. It's now the one place you access all of your shortcuts, including ones you've added to Siri, and we make it easier to get started with your first multi-step shortcut using a new feature called Suggested Automations, which take your habits and personalize it to a template like heading home or going to the gym. Integral across all of these experiences is how Siri sounds. When we first started with Siri's voice, we used short clips of audio from actor recordings. But sometimes when we put them together, it didn't always sound as natural as we wanted it to be. So this year we have taken a huge step forward using cutting-edge machine learning called neural text-to-speech, where for the first time ever, the voice you hear is entirely generated by software. As a result, it has more natural cadence and better emphasis. It's most noticeable when Siri is speaking longer or more complex sentences. Let's have a listen together, starting with iOS 12.
Absolute zero is the lowest limit of the thermodynamic temperature scale, a state at which the enthalpy and entropy of a cooled ideal gas reach their minimum value, taken as zero.
All right, so that's okay. But now let's try iOS 13 with neural text-to-speech.
Absolute zero is the lowest limit of the thermodynamic temperature scale, a state at which the enthalpy and entropy of a cooled ideal gas reach their minimum value, taken as zero.
Way better. Way better. So that's Siri along with AirPods, HomePod, and CarPlay. Thank you. Back to you, Craig.
Thank you, Stacy. So that's our next big release of iOS, iOS 13. And there's so much we didn't have time to talk about, like the ability to deal with call spam by sending unknown callers directly to voicemail. Or, yes, or low data mode. Or for our enterprise customers, the ability to single sign on to enterprise accounts and to have separate iCloud accounts for your personal and work lives. So you may notice there's been one thing missing from the iOS 13 story, and that's iPad. Yes. Now, from the beginning, iPad has been built on the technical foundations of iOS, so of course, it gets all of these great new features that we're bringing to iPhone. But over the years, iPad has also evolved into something unique, with its giant canvas and powerful features like slide over and split view, drag and drop, and Apple Pencil. iPad delivers an experience that's truly distinct. Well, we have some big changes coming to iPad this year, and the time has come to recognize the platform in a special way. Let's take a look. iPad OS, and I'd like to give you a first look. So let's take a look at iPad OS. I'm going to swipe home, and the first thing you notice is this tighter grid of icons, letting you have more tools at your disposal right on your home screen. But what I think is super cool is watch what happens when I swipe over. I can now pin my widgets right on my home screen. It's gorgeous, and you get a lot of information at a glance. Now let's turn to multitasking. I'm going to start with slide over. Launch into Safari. Let's just slide over from the right-hand side of the screen. You can see I have messages there right now. Now, I can, of course, change the app I have in Slide Over. I can just pick up reminders and drag it on over. Now I have reminders in Slide Over. So next time I slide out, of course, there's reminders. But what if I want to get back to that last app? Could we make that super easy? The answer is yes. I can just drag from the bottom, and they fan out just like that. With just a tap, I can switch apps. I can even just slide along the bottom to move quickly between my apps in Slide Over. It's really great. Now next, I'd like to talk about split view, because now we're bringing multi-window capability to apps on iPad. For instance, I have a single note right here in Notes, but what if I want to have two notes side by side? Well, now I can. I can tap, drag, and now I have a split with two notes. Now I can use this across spaces as well. So here I have two notes, but here I have a Pages document. What if I have some notes I want to use while working on my Pages document? Well, I'm just going to slide on over. I'll pick up another note, and I can just move back to my Pages space and drop it over there. Now I have Pages right next to Notes. Now that I have notes in all these different spaces, well, you can guess how I can find them, right? I just bring up the dock, tap on Notes, and we have App Expose now on iPad here, all my note spaces in one place. Now, this just doesn't work for system apps, also works for third-party apps as well. So in addition to Notes here and Pages, I can have two Microsoft Word documents side by side. I mean, that's enterprisey right there. And it works great for some of the workflows in apps like Mail. So for instance, let's say I want to reply to this message from Phil. Well, I can just, of course, start typing to Phil. And then I realize, I'd actually like to draw on some of my other contents in my inbox for this reply. Well, now I can drag that compose window off to the side into split view, even create a split so I can see all my messages. I can tap through these other messages. If I find an image I want to put to my message to Phil, just tap, drag it out just like that. And check this out. If there's a link I want to preview, just tap and hold. I get a preview of that web page. That looks perfect for Phil. Just drop it right in here, just like that. Better composing through multitasking on iPad. And that's a quick look at the new home screen and new multitasking in iPad OS. But there's a lot more. Let's start with files. Now, browsing in files, of course, you have icon view, list view. Well, how about column view? Great for digging through deep file hierarchies. You get a great file preview right here, and quick actions for things like rotating document images, making PDFs, and great rich metadata right at the bottom. Now we're also improving the way you can share files. For instance, in iCloud Drive, we now support folder sharing. And get this, we also have built-in support for SMB file sharing, so you can share from your work PC, home PC, right in the files. Now there's one more. That's right, you can now plug in a thumb drive. So thumb drives, external disk drives, and SD cards all show up right in the Files app. But now this one's really great too. Sometimes when you're working with a camera, You'd like to import directly into an app like Lightroom, and now you can. Now, of course, there's much, much more. It's a huge year for files this year, and it's also a huge year for Safari. You know, Safari is just the perfect device for browsing the internet. It's like holding the web in your hands, and this year we're making Safari more capable than ever. When you look at the web today, it's often split into kind of two big categories. On the one hand, you have the mobile web designed for the small screen of mobile devices, and desktop sites that are designed for large screens like on your Mac. And often, websites will serve up the wrong thing for the iPad. Well, no more, because we're bringing desktop-class browsing to Safari on iPad. Now with this, Safari does all the heavy lifting. So instead of the mobile site, you'll see the desktop site that'll be sized perfectly for the iPad display and have automatically optimized for touch input. Now, this also works great for apps like Google Docs, Squarespace, and WordPress. They all work great in Safari now. And the desktop class experience doesn't stop there. We're also bringing a download manager to Safari. 30 new keyboard shortcuts, and much, much more. Next, I want to talk about fonts. Now, we all know that fonts bring out the personality of a project. And this year, we're giving you a new way to use custom fonts inside of your favorite apps. You'll be able to download them right from the App Store. We're working with all the major providers of fonts. Next, we're taking a big leap forward in text editing, making it even faster with the power of multi-touch. So navigating long documents, you can now grab the scroll indicator and jump anywhere in the document instantly. Now, moving the cursor is easier than ever. Just pick it up and drag it where you want it to go. And selecting text, just put your finger down and drag out a selection. There's no need to double tap and no magnifying glass getting in your way. And and when you have a selection, check this out. You want to copy or cut, just a 3-finger pinch to copy, a 3-finger spread to plop it right down. This works across all sorts of apps. And if you make a mistake, don't worry, just a 3-finger swipe to undo. No more shaking that iPad. Finally, I'd like to talk about Apple Pencil. You know, Apple Pencil has quickly become an indispensable tool for so many iPad users. It's just perfect for marking up documents, taking notes, or doing illustration. And a critical part of that experience is the incredible low latency of Apple Pencil. You know, our goal is to have it just to be indistinguishable from making marks on a physical piece of paper. Now, Apple Pencil already leads the industry, the record low 20 millisecond latency. But we've been optimizing and advancing our prediction algorithms, and today we're bringing that latency down to 9 milliseconds. It's incredible. Now, of course, an important part of your experience using your pencil is a great tool palette and a great set of tools. And so now on iPadOS, we've redesigned it. And we're providing a Pencil Kit developer API so third-party apps can have the same great experience. We've also made it a lot easier to mark up anything on any app. You can just drag your pencil up from the corner of the screen, and just like that, you're in markup. You can mark up a screenshot or even an entire document. And this works just great throughout the system. Now, to show you Pencil in action, I'd like to invite up Toby Patterson, our Senior Director in charge of the iPad system experience, to give you a demo. Toby.
Thanks, Craig. Okay. Well, let's jump into Notes here and take a look at the new text editing gestures. It begins with a tap to place the cursor up there at the top of the screen. And then to move the cursor, we'll just grab it with your finger, and Grab it with your finger, put it exactly where you want it. Now for typing, there's the standard keyboard, of course, but watch what happens when I pinch on it with 2 fingers. It shrinks down to a new compact layout, and this is really great for typing with 1 finger or your thumb while you're holding your iPad. I know, I do this a lot. And you can use Quick Path here. Oops, just like that. Now to select text, just hold your finger on a word. Oh. Hold your finger on a word, just drag it out like that. And our new gestures make text editing a breeze. It's a 3-finger pinch, once to copy, or twice in a row to cut, and then a 3-finger drop gesture to paste it into place like that. Now it's really easy. Now to undo your gestures, or to undo your changes, I want to reassure you can still shake your iPad if you want, but I do find the 3-finger swipe to the left a little bit easier. And I also want to note that these gestures are not limited to text editing only. They'll work in any application that supports cut, copy, paste, undo, and redo. Okay, let's switch now and talk about the pencil. So you can see here at the tool palette with its beautiful new design, the new tools, and now you can drag it around the screen like this. You can pin it to any edge of the screen, you minimize it down in the bottom like that, and then with a tap or a drag, open it back up again. Now, of course, Notes has been tailor-made to work really well with the pencil, but you can actually use this to mark up any application on your iPad. Let's switch over to Safari here, and I'll show you how this works. So Craig has put me in charge of the next software offsite, and I want to share an idea with him. So check this out. Watch as I drag in from the corner of the iPad with my pencil, like this. It takes you right into markup, where you can see a screenshot of exactly what you were looking at. But many apps can now support a new full-page capture mode, which you select with this button at the top. And here you can see the entire document that you were looking at. You can scroll through it, or use the sidebar on the right there to quickly navigate. And as you would expect, you can mark it up with your pencil, just like this. I'll bet we've got a few Rush fans in the crowd here today, I think. Yes. I think Craig would make a great Alex Lifeson. Now, when you're done, just bring up the share sheet and you can send it off right from here. And that's how you can easily mark up anything on your iPad. Back to you now, Craig. Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. Those are some great improvements to Apple Pencil and so much more for iPad OS. There are a ton of great new features that take iPad OS to the next level. Well, that's what I have for you now. I'm going to hand it back to Tim. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Craig. These are just blow-away, huge releases. iPad OS, built on the foundation of iOS, takes the distinctive experience of iPad even further. And a powerful new version of iOS, iOS 13. We can't wait for all of you to get your hands on these great new releases. Now, let's turn to the Mac. We love the Mac, and our customers do too. In fact, the Mac is the #1 in customer satisfaction by far in the industry. People use their Macs to create amazing things, simply and powerfully. We have the strongest Mac lineup we've ever had, from the new MacBook Air all the way up to the powerhouse iMac Pro. And for Mac users looking to really push the limits of performance, there is one more spot in our lineup that the team has been working really hard to fill. Yes! To create a product that will take Mac further than it's ever gone before. And I am so excited and thrilled to show it to you now. This is the new Mac Pro, and it's incredible. It has a truly gorgeous design and remarkable performance to match. It is the most powerful Mac we have ever created. And to tell you all about it, I'd like to invite John Turnus to the stage. John.
Thank you, Tim. I am so excited to be able to tell you about this new Mac Pro. Now, in designing this product, we wanted to build an architecture that can meet the incredible diversity of Pro needs, a system that offers virtually unlimited possibilities for customization. And key to this is a simple and elegant solution for accessing the internal components. Now, inside, you'll find a stainless steel frame that forms a strong internal structure for the entire system, and it provides a foundation for modularity and flexibility. The frame also incorporates stainless steel handles. They feel great in your hand, and they make it easy to move the system around. All of the internal modules mount to this frame, which means users have 360-degree access to easily configure components, and every subsystem has been optimized for performance. So let's start with the processor. Now, we've designed this new Mac Pro for our customers who need the ultimate in CPU performance, for tasks like production rendering, or playing back hundreds of virtual instruments, or simulating an iOS app on multiple devices at once. So we're using a brand new Intel Xeon processor, and it has up to 28 cores. And to get every last ounce of performance out of this processor, we're giving it over 300 watts of power and a massive heatsink for cooling. So this means it can run fully unconstrained all the time. Now, we also have an extremely high-performance memory architecture. 6 channels of super-fast ECC memory in 12 DIMM slots enable an incredible 1.5 terabytes of system memory. Now let's talk about expansion. Many of our Pro customers need to add things like Fiber Channel or audio DSPs or SDI video to their systems. So we're bringing PCI expansion back to the Mac in a big way. Because this new Mac Pro has 8 internal PCI slots. There are 4 double-wide slots and 3 single-wide slots. And there's 1 additional half-length slot that we populate with an I/O card. Now, this I/O card has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, 2 USB-A ports, and an audio jack. And there are also 2 more Thunderbolt 3 ports conveniently located on the top of the system. And finally, the Mac Pro has 2 built-in 10 gigabit Ethernet ports. So one of the most critical areas of expansion is graphics. Graphics performance is so important for tasks like animating 3D film assets, or compositing 8K scenes, or building complex 3D environments. But we wanted to go beyond the typical graphics card design. So we've invented something completely new. Now, it starts with an industry-standard PCI connector, so the slot maintains compatibility with standard cards. But we've added a second connector that allows us to integrate Thunderbolt throughout the entire system and provide a tremendous amount of extra power. In fact, at 500 watts, this module has the same power capacity as the entire previous generation Mac Pro. And instead of adding its own dedicated fan, we have a huge heatsink that's quietly cooled by the Mac Pro thermal system. We call this the Mac Pro Expansion Module, or MPX for short. And using this architecture, we're going to offer multiple graphics options, starting with the Radeon Pro 580X, a great all-around graphics card. But for a big upgrade in graphics performance, the Mac Pro can be configured with AMD's Radeon Pro Vega 2. Now, Vega 2 delivers 14 teraflops of graphics compute and 32 gigabytes of memory with an insane 1 terabyte per second of memory bandwidth. But we didn't stop there, because with the increased headroom of the MPX module, we can actually use 2 Vega 2 GPUs for double the teraflops, double the memory, and double the memory bandwidth. This is, quite simply, the world's most powerful graphics card. Now, these 2 GPUs are connected by the Infinity Fabric link, which allows data transfer between them that's 5 times faster than the PCI bus.
This is a really big deal for apps that are optimized to take advantage of multiple GPUs. And if all this wasn't crazy enough, the Mac Pro can be configured with 2 of these modules, enabling up to 56 teraflops and 128 gigabytes of high bandwidth memory. This is an unbelievable amount of graphics compute in a single workstation. Now, we've also done something really special for video editing. One of the challenges in working with high-quality cameras is the need to convert the native files into proxies for easier editing. This is a time-consuming and error-prone process. Being able to work directly with the native formats would be a game changer in these high-end workflows. So we've built a brand new card that we call Afterburner, and it turns your Mac Pro into a monster of a video editing machine. Afterburner is a hardware accelerator card that's built with an FPGA, which is a programmable ASIC. And this ASIC is capable of processing 6 billion pixels per second. So with this custom solution, we have achieved an unprecedented level of performance for the ProRes and ProRes RAW codecs. The most powerful workstations in the world today struggle to play back just one stream of 8K video. But with Afterburner, the new Mac Pro can play back an incredible 3 streams of 8K ProRes RAW. Or 12 streams of 4K. This is groundbreaking performance, and it means we can finally say goodbye to proxy workflows. Now, of course, all this compute requires a massive amount of power, and so we have given every Mac Pro a 1.4 kilowatt power supply. And of course, all that power requires a tremendously capable cooling system. So the Mac Pro has 3 enormous fans and 1 large blower that together can generate up to 300 cubic feet per minute of airflow. And it's very quiet. In fact, when it's under your desk in typical load conditions, it's as quiet as an iMac Pro. To seal the thermal system, the beautiful aluminum housing slides over the frame and latches into place. And its unique 3-dimensional vents are actually machined on both the internal and external surfaces. The resulting lightweight lattice pattern maximizes airflow while creating an extremely rigid structure. And finally, optional wheels make it easy to move the Mac Pro around your studio. As you can see, utility and function define the design of the new Mac Pro. And while the specs we've been talking about are impressive, we've really been focused on delivering real-world performance where it matters most. And to do that, we've been working closely with a number of pro app developers. This includes Adobe, Autodesk, Serif, and Blackmagic, who are all announcing support for the new Mac Pro today. In fact, Blackmagic is seeing some amazing performance gains. With the Afterburner card doing the heavy lifting of decoding video, they can tap into the CPU and GPUs to add effects and coloring in real time on native 8K content. This is a workflow that has never been possible before the new Mac Pro. Side effects, Red, Epic, and Avid are also announcing support today. And Avid is taking advantage of the incredible expansion capabilities of the Mac Pro to do something never before possible in a single workstation. They're enabling support for up to 6 HDX cards. This yields more I/O, increased voices, and 2 times the DSP processing than any other system can achieve. And 3D app developers like Unity, Pixar, Foundry, and Maxon are also announcing support. And Maxon has seen 20% faster GPU render performance in Cinema 4D than on a Windows workstation maxed out with 3 of the latest NVIDIA Quadro cards. And we're really excited to announce that Maxon is bringing their Redshift render engine to the Mac, optimized for Metal. And finally, there you go. The folks at Otoy are already hard at work building a version of Octane that is really going to shine with the incredible GPU performance of the new Mac Pro. We are thrilled by the excitement and commitment we're seeing from all these great developers. And of course, our own internal app teams are really excited about the Mac Pro as well. So now I'd like to bring up David Earle from our Pro Apps marketing team to give you a first-hand look at some of the amazing things you can do in Logic and Final Cut on the new Mac Pro. David? Thank you.
Thanks, John. I am thrilled to show you Logic Pro 10 running on the new Mac Pro. To get started, we're going to open up this music score from a documentary we're working on that was shot in Kenya. Now, what you see here is a Logic project, and every row is a track. and every track represents an individual musical instrument performance. So let's have a listen. Okay, so we wanted to have some fun and see just how far we could push this powerful new Mac. What you're looking at here is a brand new version of Logic, and the theme of this release is all about performance. So to show performance, I'm going to use these incredibly realistic sampler instrument libraries. And I use these libraries so that it sounds exactly like a real orchestra when I create my parts. So let's add a 50-piece percussion ensemble to this score. And how about a 100-piece orchestra? And how about another full orchestra just because, we can? Now, many composers have to actually add a second and third computer to be able to run these massive orchestral libraries. But the new Mac Pro with its CPU power and RAM can do this all in a single unit. So, of course, I'm going to need a lot more to push this Mac Pro. So let's add a ton more tracks. So we've never seen this before in Logic. I've got 300, 400, 500. We can now have 1,000 audio tracks and 1,000 software instruments in Logic. That's 4 times the amount that we had in our previous version of Logic. And of course, with all this going on, we have to check the CPU. Opening the performance meter, that's 56 threads across 28 cores with more tracks and plugins than we've ever seen before in Logic. The Mac Pro still has power to spare. It's a monster for running Logic. Okay, now, let's take this music score over to Final Cut. It's the soundtrack for this beautiful documentary that was all shot and edited in HDR. It follows Amy Vitale. She's a world-renowned photojournalist on her recent assignment to Kenya. Now, what we see here, we've never seen before in a Mac. This is 8K ProRes RAW playing back at full resolution. Now, what makes 8K so amazing is that there's over 33 million pixels in every frame, which means it looks great on a huge display like this, but it includes enough resolution that we can crop in and reframe for 4K projects. And, we can add 8K effects in real time, like this animated title. And I think I'm going to go in and add some advanced color correction and lens flare without stopping. I don't have to wait for it to render. Now, so far we've been watching a single stream of 8K ProRes RAW, but this computer has Afterburner installed, which means we can push it even further. And we can have our single stream of 8K ProRes RAW, add another stream of 8K, and how about a third stream of 8K ProRes RAW running simultaneously? That's 100 million pixels. This has never been seen. Never been seen before on any video editing software on any computer. The Mac Pro is an 8K powerhouse, and absolutely by far the most powerful Mac that's ever been created for professional filmmakers and musicians. Thank you. Back to you, John.
Thank you, David. That performance is nuts. So that is the new Mac Pro. It is the most configurable, most expandable, and by far the most powerful Mac we've ever made. But of course, an extraordinary computer deserves an extraordinary display. And to tell you more about that, I'd like to bring out Colleen Novielli from the Mac product marketing team. Colleen?
Thank you, John. Good morning. Displays are incredibly important to our pro customers because they play a vital role in creating their life's best work. Yet, today, if you look at their wish list, there's no single display that gives them every feature they've asked for. And this one feature, high dynamic range, or HDR, it's increasingly requested because it's yet to be delivered with pro-level precision. So what is HDR? HDR is a way to bring content to life by better reflecting what the eye can see in the real world. And the eye sees the brightest specular highlights, really dark blacks, vibrant rich color, and all the details in between. Today, more and more devices can play HDR content. So more and more pros who create that content, they need a great HDR display. There is one class of displays. It's commonly called reference monitors. And these do deliver true HDR along with these features.
But they're still missing these features, and they're incredibly expensive. This one's $43,000. So our goal, it was simple. Make a display that expertly delivers every feature that pros have asked for. Like the Mac Pro, the design is stunning, and every element is built for pros. And it's the most incredible panel we have ever made. It's a 32-inch LCD display with over 20 million pixels. And with two 18 pixels per inch, it's a 6K Retina display. It's the largest Retina display we've ever made. It's over 40% larger than the iMac 5K display, giving pros even more room for their tools and their content. It has P3 and true 10-bit color, and reference modes built in, all expertly calibrated at the factory. And we keep that color accurate at a super wide viewing angle by using a cutting-edge polarizer for contrast that's 25 times better than a typical LCD display. It's awesome. Now, the cover glass has our industry-leading anti-reflective coating, but for challenging lighting conditions, we've created an innovative matte option. So most matte displays, they add a coating to the glass. And this coating, it scatters the light, but it also adds unwanted haze and sparkle, and it lowers the contrast. So instead, we precisely etch the glass itself for a nanotexture surface, and this maintains image quality and contrast along with low reflectivity. Next, we have delivered HDR at a level never seen before. Now, for great HDR images, you need extreme brightness right next to extreme contrast, or deep blacks. And this is incredibly hard to achieve. So we have designed a backlighting system like none other in the world. First, a large array of blue LEDs generates extreme brightness. We calibrate every single LED on every single display at the factory. And then this feeds a massive algorithm. And then this modulates each LED based on the content rapidly. Then we use custom lenses and reflectors to actually shape and precisely control the light. Now, a typical thermal system would make this impossible to achieve for more than a few minutes. So we did something amazing. We designed the rear lattice pattern to act as a heat sink. And this doubles the surface area, quietly extracting heat from each LED. The results are incredible. This display can maintain 1,000 nits of full screen brightness indefinitely. Forever. And 1,600 nits peak. And this is going to allow our pros to do things they have been dreaming about. So for example, video editors can now work with their HDR content exactly as it's intended. And photographers can now edit an amazing HDR image like this for hours. And that is not all. Those images are going to have gorgeous, incredibly nuanced contrast, an incredible 1,000,000 to 1 contrast ratio. The images this display produces are truly stunning. And with these capabilities, we have taken this way beyond high dynamic range. This is extreme dynamic range, or XDR. And so we call this display the Pro Display XDR. So now, we have delivered every feature on the Pro wish list, but there's more. Thunderbolt 3 will provide seamless one-cable connectivity. So with the 15-inch MacBook Pro, you can have a stunning 2-display desktop setup. Or, with a new Mac Pro, you can connect an incredible 6 displays with 6K resolution for an insane 120 million pixels. Yes! Woo! Yeah! Woo! That's right. Now, there's one more feature that does not get much attention on other displays, and that's the stand, which is as pro as the display itself. First, it has an amazing counterbalancing arm that makes the display feel virtually weightless. It provides tilt and height adjustment, and it maintains the display's angle as it's raised or it's lowered. And it has rotation for portrait mode. Yeah. And this is perfect for retouching photos, designing a web page, or writing code. Yeah. And it's removable. It quickly detaches from the display to pack it up and take it on location. And finally, for pros with unique mounting requirements, we have designed a base mount adapter that attaches in a matter of seconds. So that's the new Pro Display XDR. It's the only display in the industry that delivers every feature on a pro's wish list and more. And now, all pros can use the same display across the workflow and have the same incredible XDR viewing experience with all the features they need to create their life's best work, making this the world's best pro display. And now back to you, John.
Thanks, Colleen. So that's the new Mac Pro and Pro Display XDR. Groundbreaking in every way, they deliver performance and capabilities that will forever change pro workflows. Now, the new Mac Pro is going to start with an 8-core Xeon processor, 32 gigabytes of memory, Radeon Pro 580X, and a 256 gigabyte SSD. Now, if you look at other systems configured with comparable components, you'll see that they cost around $8,000. The new Mac Pro will start at $59.99. And it's going to be available this fall. Now, we know a lot of customers who use the Mac Pro really want to be able to rack mount them in edit bays and machine rooms. So to support this, we're also going to have a version optimized for rack deployment. As for the Pro Display XDR, well, the reference monitors that we talked about can cost tens of thousands of dollars and still not match the feature set. The Pro Display XDR will be $49.99 for the display itself. And the nano texture version will be $59.99. The VESA mount adapter will be $199, and the Pro stand $999. And like the Mac Pro, they'll all be available in the fall. So that is the new Mac Pro and Pro Display XDR. Now back to Tim.
Thank you. Thank you, John, and thank you, Colleen. We can't wait to get the new Mac Pro and the Pro Display XDR into the hands of our pro users and see all the great things they're going to create with them. Now, powering the Mac experience is macOS, the world's most advanced desktop operating system. The latest release of macOS is Mojave, with system-wide dark mode and new features for both Finder and desktop that were inspired by pro users, but designed for everyone. It's been a huge hit with Mac customers. The next release of macOS brings more exciting new features to the Mac. And to tell you all about it, I'd like to invite Craig back to the stage. Craig.
Great to be back with all of you again. So for our next major release of macOS, we're moving out of the desert into the beautiful waters off the California coast, a place for sailing, diving, and so much more. It's macOS Catalina. Now, Catalina includes cool new features, some really fresh new apps, and some powerful technology for developers. Let's take a look. We begin with iTunes. Now, iTunes started completely focused. Rip, mix, and burn songs on your Mac. And then came the iTunes Music Store, kicking off the digital music revolution. And then it took on podcasts, and it redefined radio. And then video, introducing us to on-demand movies and ad-free TV. And if that weren't enough, it also handled all of your syncing, making possible the first iPod and iPhones. Well, now, customers love iTunes and everything it can do, But if there's one thing we hear over and over, it's, can iTunes do even more? I think it can. Like, how about calendar in iTunes? I mean, you could have all of your appointments and your best tracks right in one app. Could we take it further? I think so. How about mail in iTunes? And maybe Safari in iTunes. And how are you going to switch between these apps? Well, of course you'll add a dock. I think we've nailed it. Now, truth be told, our team had a better idea. The future of Apple Music, or iTunes, is not one app, but three. Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, and Apple TV. Let's start with Apple Music, because Apple Music in Catalina is the best music app we've ever made. With its singular focus on music, it's so simple, but it has all the powerful music features you expect from iTunes, all while being just blazingly fast. And it's the best place for Apple Music subscribers, with personalized recommendations from a catalog of over 50 million tracks. And for those of you that use iTunes to sync, we made that experience better as well. Because now, when you plug in your phone, this is what you see. Nothing. If you do want to sync, you can find it in the sidebar in Finder. All of your sync options are right there. And next, let's turn our attention to podcasts. It brings a dedicated podcast listening experience to the Mac. And it features all the great features you're used to in iOS, like Listen Now, where you can see new episodes and keep track of your listening across all of your devices. And it has a great new feature, and it has to do with search. You know, sometimes you hear about something on the radio maybe, or a new podcast, something on the news, and you think, oh, I want to hear more about that, but you're not sure what show it was on, or even that it appeared in the title. Well, now we use machine learning to index the contents of the spoken content of podcasts. So now you can search that content and find the podcast with just a few clicks in the app. It's great. And finally, the Apple TV app, your new home for TV and music on the Mac. Now, you'll love having access to Watch Now, including all your great channels like HBO and Showtime, and it has all your purchased movies for iTunes as well. And they've never looked or sounded better, because now on recent Macs, we have support for 4K HDR playback on the Mac with HDR10 and Dolby Vision. And Dolby Atmos playback as well, so you'll experience amazing spatial audio rendered right out of your MacBook's speakers. So that's Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, and Apple TV. And now I want to turn to something new. We call it Sidecar. Yeah. Now, Mac users love connecting their laptop to an external display so they can spread out their work. But often when they have to leave on the go, well, they got to leave that display behind. Well, no longer, because now you can use your iPad as a second display for your Mac. Now, it's great. You can spread out your work right across to your iPad. But of course, some pro users like using these dedicated tablets for precise input on their Mac. Well, now, with the iPad and Apple Pencil, you can do that too. It works both wired and wirelessly, so you can get comfortable, and it works across all of your favorite Mac apps that support tablets. Now, next, I want to turn to accessibility. Now, we believe technology is most powerful when everyone can use it. So we engineer a wide array of assistive technologies into all of our products. Now, for users with physical motor limitations, voice can be an extremely powerful way to operate a computer. And this year, we're proud to introduce voice control. Now, voice control lets you control your Mac entirely with your voice. And not just that, we're also bringing it to iOS as well. I'd like to show you just how transformative this can be.
Wake up. Voice control is a breakthrough feature that gives you full control of your devices, with just your voice, period. It's a whole new way to do everything you love, period. Like this. Correct love. 16. Open photos. Scroll up. Show numbers. 13. Click share. 3. Tim. Next field. Let's ride this one today. Thumbs up emoji. Click send. Open maps. Show grid. Long press at 20. Open app switcher. 4. Tap share. Tap Tim. Tap send.
Hey, good to see you.
Open music. Turn up the volume.
All right.
So that's voice control. Now it leverages the latest Siri voice recognition technology to precisely understand what you're saying and all of those commands. And of course, your voice is processed locally on device, so none of that audio goes to Apple. Now next, I want to turn to a new solution that helps you find your Mac should it ever be lost or stolen. It's called Find My. Now, Find My combines Find My iPhone with Find My Friends, and it's now available on the Mac and iOS devices as well. And it has a new twist, because it can now even locate Apple devices that are offline. Now, this is particularly important for Macs because often your laptop is folded up in a bag, asleep, and no longer on the network. Now, the way this works is really cool. Let's say you've misplaced your MacBook. So even when it's offline and sleeping, it sends out a secure Bluetooth beacon that can be detected by other people's Apple devices nearby. Now, they can relay your MacBook's location to the network and ultimately back to you so you can find it. Now, what's amazing is that this whole interaction is end-to-end encrypted and anonymous. It uses just tiny bits of data that piggyback on existing network traffic. So there's no need to worry about your battery life, your data usage, or your privacy. Next, activation lock. We're bringing activation lock to your Mac to make it far less attractive to thieves. It's available on all Macs with the T2 security chip, and it works just like on your iPhone and iPad. So in the unfortunate event that your Mac ever is stolen, the thief will find it completely useless because they can't even install or boot it unless you reactivate it with your credentials. Now I want to return to apps because there's much more to the app story in Catalina. Now you'll find, of course, the beautiful new photo browsing experience in Photos, an updated start page in Safari, the brand new gallery view in Notes, and a completely redesigned Reminders app. But also, for the first time, we're bringing Screen Time to the Mac. Now, it has all the same great features from iOS, so you and your family can now understand the complete picture of your use across all your devices, and all the limits are enforced across all of your devices. We think this is going to be great for families. Now, of course, Mac users also love third-party apps, and they love to have more on the platform. We've been working on a new project that internally we call Project Catalyst. And it's new technology that lets developers quickly and efficiently create apps for the Mac based on their existing iPad apps. Now, there are over 1 million iPad apps out there, and we think some of them would be fantastic on the Mac. Now, iPad developers, of course, would also love to have a greater audience to sell their apps to. And there are 100 million active Mac users out there waiting for them. Now, if you're running Mojave, you've already used Catalyst technology because we used it to build news, stocks, voice memos, home. Now, that was just V1, and we've learned a lot since then. We've spent the last year expanding the number of categories of apps the technology could support, and we've tuned it up so it results in a much better Mac app. And we're pleased to announce that we're making Catalyst available to developers today in macOS Catalina. Now, the experience starts right here in Xcode. Just open up your existing iPad project, check the Mac checkbox. And just like that, you'll get a huge head start because Xcode automatically builds in all the fundamental features like cursor controls, window controls, and so forth. And that lets you focus on the finishing touches, maybe a translucent sidebar, pull-down menus, or whatever features would make your app just great on the Mac. Now, this means one development team, for the first time, can build a single app that can span all the way from iPhone to iPad to Mac. Now, we've been working with a number of developers previewing Catalyst technology, and we've already seen some great Mac apps. For instance, the great racing game Asphalt 9 Legends from Gameloft. Here's what they had to say. We had Asphalt 9 Legends for the Mac running on the first day. It looks stunning and runs super fast using Metal on powerful Mac hardware. And Twitter, excited to come back to the Mac with a native app. They said, we had Twitter for Mac running, including native Mac features, in just days. Now a single team can efficiently manage Twitter for iPhone, iPad, and Mac. And finally, we asked Atlassian, developers of Jira Cloud, leading project management solution for agile software development, to give Catalyst a try. And to tell you more about it, I'd like to invite Rob Chatfield, senior iOS engineer, to the stage. Rob, come on up.
Thanks, Craig. Jira has been on the web for years, and recently we've put a lot of effort into mobile, like our iOS app that offers quick and easy access to your projects on the go. Many of you have asked us for a similar experience on the Mac, and well, today I am thrilled to announce that we've done just that. We were impressed that we were able to get the Jira project up and running in just a few days, and it's a huge project. Now, our iOS devs are Mac devs too. One code base, one team. Here is a preview. The boards view looks amazing on the Mac display, with plenty of room for multitasking. And the benefit of this being a native app is that it's insanely fast. We can switch between these views instantly, which is a level of performance you just don't get on the web. And this is one project. So all the work we did on iPad automatically translated to the Mac, like keyboard shortcuts, Spotlight, and drag and drop. And it was easy to add those finishing touches that make it perfect for the desktop. For example, we added our top tasks into the custom toolbar. All of this never would have happened without Project Catalyst. We are super excited to be bringing the Jira app to Mac and can't wait for you to try it. So look for Jira Cloud in the Mac App Store later this year. Thank you very much.
So we're really excited about this technology and excited to see what apps you all bring to the Mac App Store this fall. So that's macOS Catalina, Sidecar, strong security improvements, great new system apps, and Project Catalyst, bringing a whole new way to bring new apps to the Mac. You know, you've seen a lot today in terms of tools for pro users. And you know who our biggest group of pros is? Well, it's developers, all of you. And, you know, everything we do for developers is focused on the goal of helping you create the greatest and most innovative apps. And we do this by providing tools and technologies designed to give you a head start. Well, this year we have a whole bunch to talk about, like Metal and Caramel, but we're going to cover that later in the conference. Today, I want to focus on just two areas: AR and Swift. And we'll start with AR. Today, we have 3 really big announcements, starting with Reality Kit. So, creating complex 3D environments can require deep knowledge of 3D modeling and mastery of sophisticated gaming engines like Unity and Unreal. But what about the developers who want to incorporate 3D and AR in their apps, but they don't have that experience? Well, that's where Reality Kit comes in. It's built from the ground up for AR with photorealistic rendering and amazing effects like camera motion blur and noise. And it's seamlessly integrated into ARKit and has a native Swift API. Now, how do you actually model your 3D content? Well, that's where Reality Composer comes in. Reality Composer is a new app featuring a drag and drop interface and a library of high-quality objects and animations, making it incredibly fast and easy to build an interactive environment. Now, of course, it's integrated with Xcode, but it's also available on iOS, so you can edit, test, and tune your app right on the device where it'll ultimately be delivered. Now, of course, the foundation of AR on iOS is ARKit, and ARKit is a major update. I want to focus on one area around the improvement of the way people are handled in AR scenes, starting with people occlusion. Now, this is insane. What used to require painstaking compositing by hand can now be done in real time. Now, by knowing where these people are in the scenes, you can see we can layer virtual content in front and behind them. And check this out, motion capture. Just point your camera at a person and we can track in real time the positions of their head, their torso, and their limbs and feed it as an input into the AR experience. Now, developers are going to do amazing things with ARKit 3. And that brings us to Minecraft. Minecraft is the best-selling game of all time and a great platform for creativity. So to see how ARKit is enabling Minecraft to go to the next level, happy to welcome to the stage Lydia Winters and Sax Persson from Mojang.
Thanks, Craig. Our amazing community inspires us to push boundaries and build unique experiences. We're here today to show you our newest creation.
We've been dreaming about a Minecraft in the real world, a Minecraft in augmented reality. We share a vision with Apple, how AR can uniquely connect us to the world, and today, technology is ready for that vision. We've built something we think is pretty special.
We're excited to demo gameplay for the very first time right here on stage. This is Minecraft Earth.
Let's start with the basics. This is a real, living, breathing Minecraft world right on your tabletop, with redstone circuitry, fireworks, flowing water. You can break anything. You can play with your mobs. And when I look at Lydia, I can see what tool she's holding, and I can see her name. And we can see anything she's building.
I'm going to put myself into the build. There I am.
Nice. Looks just like you. Let's use motion capture and make your character wave. Try one wave. Let's try to trigger the double wave. Cool.
This looks amazing on the tabletop, but let's use the stage. Here we go. Look, Mom, I'm in Minecraft.
You fit right in with the new people occlusion feature. Like, you can fit right into your Minecraft world. That only works on iOS.
It's like hide and seek.
This is a fully interactive world, even at this scale.
There are some interesting levers over here. I'm going to press the one with the feathers on it.
All right, watch out for the chickens.
Chickens!
I'm gonna put some seeds in my hand that should come rushing over.
So cute. Hey, Sax, there's another lever over here. It has TNT on it. I'm definitely gonna pull it.
Watch out. Oh, the
I
chickens
am
went in.
right on the edge. Skeletons,
All right, Lydia, I'm gonna help you out with the skeletons.
thank you.
Uh-oh, chicken. Sorry.
Oh no! Skeletons only.
I'm trying. All right, there's a huge cave underneath you we can light up.
It's hard to believe that there's nothing on the ground or around us on the stage. It's incredibly immersive. The fun, quirkiness, and surprises of Minecraft are all around to discover. Oh no, Sax, a creeper! It's always a creeper. Minecraft takes on its biggest dimension yet, Earth. Unleash your creativity, build with friends, and turn the real world into your playground.
Go to Minecraft.net to learn more and sign up for your chance to play on iOS this summer.
We can't wait to see what you do in Minecraft Earth. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Isn't that great? Now, just to be clear, no chickens were harmed on the stage at WWDC. I know it was very lifelike, but that was an illusion. So that's AR Kit 3, Reality Kit, and Reality Composer. It's a huge year for AR. It's also an enormous year for Swift. Now, platform programming language transitions, well, they only come along every 20 to 30 years. You know, C and Objective-C, those were created in the 70s and 80s. And Swift was just launched 5 years ago, and it's just amazing how strong it's been going. There are over 450,000 apps on the App Store using Swift, and developers are loving it. Yes. Thank you all. But you know, a new language enables new paradigms, and with it, new frameworks. Now, Objective-C enabled AppKit and then UIKit, improving developer productivity by an order of magnitude and ultimately igniting the app revolution. Now, when we introduced Swift, the first step was to make sure developers could access these great frameworks while taking advantage of the language's speed and expressiveness. But of course, the biggest gains were yet to come. The true step function in development would only come when we engineered a new framework, built from the ground up to take advantage of everything that Swift had to offer. Today, we're announcing that new framework. It's called Swift UI. Now, Swift UI is built in Swift for Swift, and it provides a new paradigm. You specify UI with simple declarations. It makes code really easy to write and really easy to understand. It's designed to help you build better apps with way less code. For instance, let's take an app like this, a simple list. We've all written one of these. Now, it turns out if you want to write this with support for all the modern features, you might end up writing something like this in UIKit. It's actually quite a bit of code. Here's that same thing in Swift UI. That's it. Just a few lines of Swift code. Yes. Now, there's so much that Swift UI gives you. It frees you to focus on the functionality in your apps. Now, we automatically do new things for you. Like when we add dark mode, your app gets it automatically. And of course, the framework is only part of the story, because in Xcode, there's a new interactive development experience. You can think about it like playgrounds, cranked to 11, built for apps. Now, to show you Swift UI in action, I'd like to invite Josh Schaffer, the head of our iOS UI frameworks, to the stage to give you a live demo. Josh.
All right, thanks, Craig. Let me show you how easy it is to get started with Swift UI. On the canvas on the right, you can see my simple Hello World app. And I can just select the text on the canvas, and when I do, Xcode highlights the code in the editor on the left. And watch what happens when I edit it. The preview updates immediately. Now to get started, let's open our library of views. We can see some options and drag one right out and drop it right on the canvas. As soon as I do, the code for it is added to the editor on the left. With simple drag and drop, we can get real code created instantly. And built-in inspectors let us adjust the layout of our views exactly like you would in an app like Keynote. The inspectors are tailored for each type of view, so you can see the kind of options that you have and choose exactly the one that you want. And I can use the exact same tools to edit the code directly, too. So with just one step, we can take this view we've been building and convert it into a scrollable list of views. Now, a list requires content. Thanks. It's really incredible. OK, so a list requires content. And for that, we can bring in a model object that I created earlier, and then just start connecting it up to our views. For the first public app written with Swift UI, we thought it would be kind of fun to help our friends in product marketing choose the perfect name for the next release of macOS. So here we have a list of themes, but we need a place to display a release name. And for that, we can drag in a custom component I created earlier and drop it right at the top. Now, even with this little amount of code, Swift UI already provides default support for really common features, like localization for right-to-left languages, and of course, iOS 13's new dark mode. All right. Now let's make this interactive so that when we select a row in the table, we'll display a name for that theme. Now we're ready to test it out. And with just a click, we can go from designing our app to interacting with it right in Xcode. Now, testing within Xcode is incredible, but I want to try it on a device, too. So with just one more click, we can now install it on our phone and be ready to try it out there. So let's try farms, or maybe food. That's great, but what's really incredible about this is that we can start to edit it live right on the device. So Swift UI includes built-in support for animated transitions. So let's see some options and pick a cool one for the top. Now this time when we choose a name, it's going to animate in. So let's say deserts, or maybe beaches. That's better, but we all know that product marketing chooses these names randomly. So to get a feel that matches that reality, let's wrap our banner in a custom randomizer component that I built earlier to help us pick a name. And now we're ready to choose the next name for macOS. Well, that one's not great. Let's try one more. Cute animals seems promising. Well, that one's perfect. All right, so because Swift UI includes built-in support for integrating with other Apple frameworks, I thought it'd be fun to use the new Reality Kit framework to envision the release of macOS 10 Flying Squirrel. And it looks like it's going to be amazing. And that's a quick look at building user interfaces with Swift UI and Xcode previews. You're going to love it.
What do you think? Now, I'm sure that many of you are really excited to adopt Swift UI in your apps. And the good news is you can do it starting with a single view all the way up to a whole application. And this isn't just for building iOS apps. For the first time ever, we now have a native framework for building watch apps as well. But not just that. Swift UI is available across all of our platforms, and it provides bindings to all the native controls, so you can customize your experiences specifically for each, all while using a common API. It's incredibly powerful. Now, that's just some of our big news for developers this morning. I want to thank you all for spending the time with me. You are so awesome. I'm going to hand it back to Tim. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. What an incredible morning. Have you enjoyed it? Yeah. Today we moved all of our software platforms forward, providing customers new ways to enrich their lives and powerful tools to developers so they can continue to change the world. All of the platforms will be available as a beta today, and the public seed for macOS, iOS, and iPadOS will be available in July. And of course, all of this great software will be available to our users in the fall. Now, you'll also be able to get an early look at the new Mac Pro and the Pro Display XDR in our Pro Studio just across the street. I encourage you to do that. We have a huge week planned for you guys with more than 100 sessions, more than 200 hands-on labs, and over 1,000 Apple engineers that are here to help you. So seek them out. We can't wait to see what you guys are going to dream up and how you're going to continue to change the world. Now, before I close this morning, I'd like to thank everyone that worked so hard at Apple on all of the products that you saw this morning. These guys have given up their nights and weekends from their families and so on and so forth, and many of these innovations are years in the making. So thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Yes. Thank you all for coming and sharing the time with us. Have a great week. Thank you.
My feet go boom, 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 boom. My heart beats boom, 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 boom. That's what I'm gonna do.